Hello and thank you for watching my video. This is Leveling Challenge episode 21 and we're carrying on with our level 60 story. Level 60 story, you actually get a lot of different aspects to the personal story. And you can see here we got our Ritlock Brimstone, our personal story guy. He sent us a message saying, oh, you guys are doing well, keep it going. And obviously we're a member of the Demon Priory. So this is just after we've recruited the Groll to help us fight against the dragons. And this aspect of the personal story is going to deal with the assault on Lion's Arch. And this is actually an ability now that we have in Guild Wars 2, where story instances, as you can see here, Guild Wars 2's now had Lion's Arch completely updated. But with the personal story, we can go back and revisit Lion's Arch to fulfill those personal story moments as they originally were in the old versions of Lion's Arch, which is pretty cool. Before you were doing personal story bits in like the ruins of Lion's Arch. So we take on the personal story on Red Alert, and this is the introduction of the Risen to the personal story and the first part that we actually become aware of Tequatl. Sorry, not Tequatl, but the first part we're aware of the Zaitan. And here we go, we see our little Azura friend who's stuck in stasis with... Which I always find weird, this undead scout is sort of, you know, this, like, you know, sort of see-through. I always find it a bit weird. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Anyway, in the meantime, we actually have the golem defenses have activated to try and kill us. But we actually have to try and rescue the Azura and help the Azura out of that stasis field. Which means this would have to kill the undead scouts. But this is the start of the Orion assault into Lion's Arch, and it's an interesting aspect of the story where we lose Claw Island gets assaulted, then they have a few small attacks into Lion's Arch, and then we go back and we try and reclaim the Claw Island, which we do successfully. Although that was a bit of a spoiler, most people at this point will know that. So, regarding my personal story, those of you wondering what my leveling challenge is all about, a quick summary, I am not allowed to use the trading post. I'm only allowed to buy equipment from vendors in the game. I'm also not allowed to level up through crafting or buy sort of tomes of knowledge or any leveling upgrades. Only through events and actually doing heart quest and map completion am I allowed to level up. It's a really cool way to actually see how much, you know, certain areas where you'll be under-leveled, certain areas where you'll be over-leveled, and it's just, you know, at level, when you, now, because I have so many tomes of knowledge, I instantly leveled a character to level 80, and one of my other little challenges that I'm looking at doing at the moment is creating a character from level 2 to level 80, and then going through the personal story as quickly as possible to see actually how long it can take me to get from the very, very first, you know, introduction to defeating Zaitan and seeing how long that actually takes me, because maybe we can use that as a reference for Heart of Thorns story mode. But as you can see here, we've got the dimensional anchor, and we have to restore Maeva to this dimension. There we go, and we have to destroy the undead scout. Again, my armor is a little bit weird. We'll get a lot of stacks of bleed there. Fortunately, we can cleanse that. Well, we're a bit of a condition damage. We're a bit of mixture of whatever we are at the moment. A lot of you know, different aspects. You know, our armor isn't perfect, but there we go. We defeated the undead scout. We get some nice rewards. We get some nice gloves that we can now use. Sort of different trait stats. And I'm opening these on the level. You know, in a future in a sort of leveling challenge, I'm not going to open up all of these loot bags on this character. I'm going to save them up and open them up on level 80. So we got a lot of luck there. We got some materials at this level because we are level 62, and you know you can see here we've got the Battle of Claw Island next, and this is a point where you actually get a lot of battle. This is where basically all these stories come together. It's the first point, actually, where all the races and all the story modes are exactly the same. Apart from the fact, obviously, depending on what order you chose, depends on which person sacrifices themselves. But we'll come to that later. But generally, this is the point where everybody you know, no matter if you're Norn, Sylvari, if you're Vigil or Order of the Whispers, from this point onwards, generally, the story will pretty much be the same. So this is the Battle of Claw Island. This is where we actually meet Trahearn. If you're not a Sylvari, this is the first time you meet Trahearn. And you can see here we got some equipment, but we're going to dye that just to make sure that we all match. I'm going for the blue look at the moment. Yeah, we got a Warm Commander Talon, who, oddly enough, looks very, very similar to my character. I do find it funny that they... I didn't really mean this to happen, but let's have a look at them side by side. So there you go. Apart from the horns, maybe, but, you know, generally, facially, they look pretty damn similar. There you go, twin brother. Or maybe, like cousin or something. I think that's pretty cool. So, we'll get Commander Talon. He's not too fast. We're going to go and warn some of the deputies, Deputy Drac and Deputy Mira. And then we'll get a slight skirmish. And generally, this isn't a bad fight. But, you know, we do get the Risen coming in, and you'll get a minion or a sort of dragon champion of Zaitan that will come in and attack Claw Island. So here we go, Deputy Mira, she seems unconcerned. Claw Island stood for over 100 years. And I think that actually references some aspects to what happened, the formation of Lion's Arch, and how Lion's Arch came to be this terrific hot pot of all the races. And that's something that we're going to come on to at another point to do with Lion's Arch. Because Lion's Arch used to be the capital of the Crichton Empire, or the human Crichton sort of, you know, royalty. But then when it flooded, due to the rise of Zaitan, it was actually rebuilt by a Commodore Mariner, who is actually one of the main points of the novel. He's the main focus for the novel Sea of Sorrows. A really good book, actually. You should really give it a read. It doesn't even matter if you're not a big Guild Wars 2 fan. I gave it to my dad, and he really enjoyed it. You know, he'd never played Guild Wars 2, never even heard of it, but he enjoyed the novel nevertheless. So here we go. We got Trahearn. He's having a chat with him. He's not too fussed about, you know, Talons. He's like, oh, what's going on? It's nothing. Then we get this Risen ship that sort of comes up, and we have to destroy it, and then you get more Risen fleet coming in. And generally, I think this is the point where the personal story isn't too thrilling. You know, I enjoy making multiple characters. You know, I've got 23 different characters, and the majority I've gone through and completed the personal story. It's at this point when I don't particularly enjoy this story point. I've done it so many times, there's not really much variation. It's not really that enthralling on a multiple playthroughs. Maybe the first couple of times it was interesting, but, you know, come the 22nd, 23rd time, it really isn't great to play. As we're defeating these other abominations. And I'm just hoping that with regards to the Heart of Thorns story, that they give us something that does keep people interested as we get downed again. These abominations are really, really tricky, really hard, and I'm dead. Oh, there you go. That was slightly annoying. That was a bit irritating. So there we go. I've actually died 45 times at this point. Most of them have been pretty stupid. Remember, though, a lot of the time when we were doing this, as we're going to revive Deputy Mira, a lot of the times those deaths were when we were under-leveled in higher level areas, and, you know, a lot of those deaths really were pretty hard to sort of, you know, avoid because of just how under-leveled we were. I think there was at one point we were 8 levels lower than what we should be. Now, this is an annoying little area because we have to revive Deputy Mira, but these Risen here, we can't kill them because they constantly respawn, and the only way is to try and rush in, res Mira, and then get the hell out of there. So again, it's just an aspect that is a little bit disappointing for the personal story. So here we go, we're going to regroup with Commander Talon, and then, you know, that the invasion's going to begin. And this is where the Dragon Champion, Zaitan enters the fray. Oh, not quite yet. We do actually have to destroy the ship. And so we use the trebuchets against the Warmonger. Again, I've done this so many times, it's just a kind of bit boring to watch, honestly. And I've done this a lot, and it really isn't fun to watch this. You know, I enjoyed a lot of my leveling challenge. This bit isn't part of one of the sections that I've enjoyed. You know, this is just... I've done it so many times, there's so many points you just become bored of it. It's like why I don't particularly enjoy doing dungeons, because they just are pretty boring. I have to say, the trebuchet, though, is one of the more fun things. It does shoot up so damn high. So there we go, we managed to hit it with the first shot. Pretty much at maximum range is when you destroy it. And so the rest of the undead fleet arrives. And we're going to regroup with Commander Talon again. We've got loads of Risen that have spawned in the base. So Commander Talon, he's a bit arrogant. He's like Char. He's going, yeah, there's no way this base is going to lose. Well, you know, we are the Lion Guard, and we're like, oh, it's going to fall. And so yeah, so there you go. Talon's downed. There's me. I wanted to see me side by side with Talon, but there we go. So we've got to light the signal beacons, and then after we do that, then we're in trouble. This is pretty easy. Just run up there, activate the beacons, and get back down again. But when you consider this aspect of the personal story, and compared to a lot of other new content, it really is generally kind of disappointing. And I think this is one of the core aspects that why people didn't enjoy the PvE experience. I mean, I have to say, like, the story mode is, you know, it's an interesting story, but just the general gameplay of this actual battle is, in my opinion, pretty poor. It's not fun. You know, you've got to clear... Look, we've got to help the Lion Guard hold out. We don't get, like, a timer or anything. There isn't a bar for the amount of Risen we have to kill. We just have to try and kill as many as possible. And, again, you know, we are level 62 here, but we've got a lot of level 50-odd gear. And we're not going to be able to survive against you know, overwhelming odds. You know, it's not like we're level 80. But we're coming up to the end of this video, and this is where you'll get the end of the battle. We've got a fair few steps to get further forward. I am hoping to try and speed it up a little bit, and to, you know, I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of an education, as again, I think we're going to die here. Are we going to blow up? No, we haven't managed. No, we're dead. But Lion's Arch, again, you know, I'm doing a special video on Lion's Arch, so I don't want to go too much into the lore about LA. But the thing I'm going to be doing for Lion's Arch is pretty cool. And I'll be giving a lot more information about Lion's Arch. But this is Claw Island, and this is an important section. Something that we haven't seen is how Claw Island is actually going to be looking after, you know, considering Scarlet attacked and they rebuilt Lion's Arch. Have they done anything to Claw Island? You know, we don't know anything about that yet. It'd be interesting to see if they shore up the defences, because obviously Claw Island was the main bastion against the undead. Perhaps they are in the middle of upgrading it. So here comes the Dragon Champion, a Tuquatl wannabe. I think it's slightly smaller than Tuquatl, actually, or around about the same size. But here we go, we get feared and we have to run away. Mira gets her eyes burnt, and then we get a point where this bit I always find ridiculous. Like, why do they get, like, there's like the, you know, Siren commits suicide because she blocks, you know, takes one for the team basically. And I do think it's a little bit of a cop out, really. I think it's pretty, you know, ridiculous that they make someone have a sacrifice just for you to try and feel some emotion. Maybe they got that right with Tybalt, because Tybalt was a lovely character, but for some of the others, it was a bit disappointing. So there you go. That is the Battle of Claw Island done. This is the whole mission complete. We'll have to retake it eventually. But we've got a cool animation where we see the boat set. We sail off on the boat. Very similar to a story in Guild Wars 1 where we actually sail off the Sanctum coast. I think it's Sanctum K. And we flee and we have to sail to the Crystal Desert. Kind of similar in the, like, we have to sail to Lion's Arch. So let's look at the rewards we get. So we get a Black Lion key, and we also get a Aqua Breather, which is level 60, which is pretty good. And so we're going to salvage that, and we get some reward. Well, we can't salvage that, and we're going to get some rewards. So getting that black key is pretty impressive. So I'm hoping this has been a nice video for you to actually see just how it goes. I'm sure those of you who are doing it, you probably know how it all works anyway. But stay tuned for the next episode where, again, we're going to be aiding the Derman Priory and we'll hopefully retake Lion's Arch. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave any comments and I'll see you on the next episode.